What happens when a beloved Southern comedian gets pushed too far on live television? The result became one of the most unforgettable moments in late-night TV, and it all started so simply. Before diving in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment about what you think really happened that night. You will want to hear how this story unfolds. Leanne Morgan walked onto the Tonight Show stage to thunderous applause. The crowd was full of longtime fans who had followed her for years, and the room buzzed with excitement. Jimmy Fallon greeted her with his trademark grin, arms open wide. "Leanne Morgan, everybody!" He cheered as the audience joined in. "It's so great to have you here. I've been watching your specials, and you are truly one of the funniest comedians out there." Leanne smiled warmly. "Well, thank you, Jimmy. That's so kind. I'm just thrilled to be here." "Your new tour's been selling out everywhere," Jimmy said, leaning forward. "What's it like going from tiny comedy clubs to huge theaters?" Leanne laughed. "It's wild. I used to perform for maybe a dozen people, half of them my relatives. Now I walk out to thousands and think, did y'all really buy tickets to see me?" The audience laughed and Jimmy nodded. "That's amazing. And your comedy, it's so relatable. You talk about marriage, family, getting older. Where does that come from?" "Well," Leanne replied, "I've been married over 30 years. I've got 3 kids, and believe me, they give me plenty of material. My husband's a saint. He has to be living with me." Jimmy chuckled. "And you're from Tennessee, right?" "Small town?" "Yes, sir. Born and raised. Population maybe 2,000, counting the dogs." The crowd laughed and everything felt easy, until Jimmy's tone suddenly shifted. "So, Leanne," he said, his voice taking on a more serious edge, "your comedy's really wholesome, very family-friendly. Do you ever feel like you're holding yourself back by staying in that lane? I mean, some of the biggest names in comedy push boundaries, go darker. Do you ever think about doing that?" Leanne's smile faltered slightly. "Well, Jimmy, I don't think I'm holding back. I'm telling stories that are true to me, and people connect with that." Right, Jimmy said, but he didn't sound convinced. "But don't you think comedy should challenge people sometimes? Make them a little uncomfortable?" "Comedy's about making people laugh," Leanne said, her southern drawl deepening. "There are a lot of ways to do that. I don't need to shock anyone to be funny. My life's already funny enough." Jimmy leaned back, half grinning. "Okay, but do you think clean comedy gets the same respect as edgy comedy? Because when people talk about the greats, they talk about risk-takers." The audience quieted, sensing the shift. Leanne's voice hardened slightly. "Jimmy, I've sold out Radio City Music Hall. My Netflix specials have millions of views. I think I'm doing just fine without needing to shock anyone. Respect comes from connecting, not from trying to prove you're edgy." "Sure," Jimmy said, raising his hands. "But maybe your comedy's a little too safe?" The room froze. Leanne stared at him, her expression cooling. "Too safe?" she repeated. "You're really asking me that?" "I'm just saying you play it pretty safe up there," Jimmy said, though his confidence had faded. Leanne leaned forward. "Let me tell you about safe, Jimmy. I've worked rooms where no one wanted to laugh, where I had to fight for every smile. I won people over, not by being shocking, but by being real. So don't sit there and tell me I'm playing it safe when you've never done what I do." Jimmy shifted in his chair. "Okay, maybe we're getting off track." "No," Leanne said sharply. "We're right on track. You brought this up." The tension was thick. The audience sat frozen, unsure if this was real or part of the act. "I didn't mean to offend you," Jimmy said carefully. "I just meant that in comedy, sometimes you need to take risks to stay relevant." Leanne raised an eyebrow. "Stay relevant? My special's been in Netflix's top 10 for months. My tour keeps adding dates. How does that sound irrelevant?" "That's not what I meant," Jimmy said quickly. "I meant creatively. Do you challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone?" "Comfort zone?" Leanne repeated. "You think talking about marriage, aging, and being a woman in a world that ignores women over 40 is a comfort zone? You think that's easy?" Jimmy tried to respond, but she didn't let him. "You know what's actually safe, Jimmy? Sitting behind that desk with a team of writers, doing the same format that's been done for decades. Safe is never standing alone on a stage with just a mic and your words." The silence in the room was deafening. Jimmy's face reddened. "That's not fair. I work hard on this show." "I'm sure you do," Leanne replied smoothly. But don't come at me about safe when you've never done what I do. Stand-up isn't safe. It's terrifying. Every single night. All right, Jimmy said, trying to move on. Let's talk about your family. No, Leanne interrupted. You started this. Let's finish it. The audience was riveted. Some pulled out their phones despite the no recording rule. I just think, Jimmy said, you might limit your audience by keeping things so wholesome. Some people might assume it's all sunshine and rainbows. Leanne laughed bitterly. Sunshine and rainbows? Have you even watched my specials or just read the prep notes your staff gave you? His silence gave her the answer. That's what I thought, Leanne said. You don't respect what I do. You think because I don't curse or talk about drugs, my comedy doesn't count. That's not true, Jimmy said weakly. It is, Leanne shot back. And what hurts is I thought you'd understand. You built your career on being likable, on being the nice guy, and now you're trying to tear me down for doing the same. I'm not trying to tear you down, Jimmy protested. I'm just trying to look edgy by making me look soft, Leanne cut in. But you picked the wrong guest. I think we should take a break, Jimmy said nervously. Now you want a break? Leanne replied. You brought this up, so we're finishing it. Jimmy looked to his producers for help, but none came. Leanne, I didn't mean to question your credibility. But you did, she said firmly. You implied that what I do isn't enough, that I'm not enough. Jimmy's voice softened. I really respect you. Do you? She asked. Because respect means doing your homework. It means recognizing different styles of comedy and valuing all of them. You're right, Jimmy said. I should have prepared better. Yes, you should have, Leanne said. But this isn't just about me. It's about how women in comedy are treated. We get asked different questions, judged by different standards. The crowd began nodding, many women clapping. When a man talks about family, he's brilliant. When a woman does it, she's too safe. That's the double standard. Jimmy looked down. I never thought about it that way. Most people don't, Leanne said. You probably thought you were asking a smart question, but what you did was question my worth. The audience broke into applause. Leanne continued. I came here excited to talk about my tour, not to defend my career. You're right, Jimmy said quietly. I messed up. I'm sorry. Are you sorry you did it, or that you got called out? Leanne asked. After a pause, Jimmy said, I'm sorry I did it. I was wrong. Leanne studied him. Here's what gets me. You've had male clean comedians on this show. Did you ever ask Jim Gaffigan or Jerry Seinfeld if they were too safe? Jimmy hesitated, then shook his head. No. Exactly, Leanne said. Because they're men. Men get to be themselves. Women have to justify everything. The audience was glued to every word. I'm not trying to destroy you, she added. I'm trying to make you see what it's like for us. We have to work twice as hard for half the respect. I understand, Jimmy said quietly. And I'll do better. Leanne nodded but didn't smile. Good, because how you treat the next woman who sits here matters. Then she stood. The audience gasped. Leanne, please don't leave, Jimmy said, rising too. We can fix this. No, she said, unclipping her mic. You don't get to question my credibility and then act like everything's fine. The damage is done. The room was silent as she turned to the audience. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm sorry it turned out like this, but I hope you understand why I have to walk away. The crowd began to clap, softly at first, then louder until the whole room was on its feet. Jimmy looked crushed. This isn't how I wanted it to go. Then you should have prepared, Leanne said simply. You should have respected me. She paused, then looked into the camera. To every young comedian watching, especially women, don't let anyone tell you your voice doesn't matter. Be yourself. Tell your stories. And if someone disrespects you, you have every right to walk away. The crowd erupted again as she left the stage. Jimmy stood frozen, speechless. We'll be right back, he finally said, his voice weak. But the clip went viral within minutes. The internet exploded. Some said Leanne overreacted. Others praised her for standing up for herself. Her tour sold out in record time. Millions of new fans found her online, watching her specials and realizing she wasn't safe, she was fearless. The moment became a turning point. sparking conversations across the industry about how women in comedy are treated. And through it all, Leanne kept doing what she always did best, telling stories, making people laugh, and proving that staying true to yourself is the bravest thing you can do. So, hit that subscribe button and tell us, was Leanne right to walk away or should she have stayed?